Hey everybody, what is going on today? Welcome to another Illustrator CS6 tutorial. Today we're going to be going over creating grids. Now, there's two types of grids in Illustrator. There is the rectangle grid and there are circular polar grids, which are just called polar grids, but I added circular in there because that's the shape of them. So the rectangular grid tool over here, where the line segment, arc tool, or spiral tool is, you get the rectangular grid tool. And that just creates rectangular grids of a specific size and number of horizontal and vertical dividers. So if I go ahead and just click and drag, this is the basic rectangular grid that you're going to get. Now, most of the time, you're going to want to be able to specify what you're using and what type of grid you want. So I'm going to hit Control Z so I can go back. I'm just going to change this to black because I've been using orange the whole time. All right. And then go ahead on your artboard. When you have the rectangular grid tool selected, just click. And click where you want the rectangular grid to be, where you want the center of it. Now we can change the default width and height of it. We get the number of horizontal dividers, and then we get vertical dividers. And if you don't want those lines to be straight in these, you can skew them from either the bottom of the divider to the top. So say I want 3 horizontal dividers, which are from left to right. Think of, if you get horizontal and vertical confused, think of the word horizon in here. And when you think of the horizon, that's what the sun sets on, and that's the land. So that's going to be going left to right. And then we got vertical dividers. Say we want 10 of those. And we've got use an outside rectangle as a frame. And what that's going to do, if you have that checked, it's going to replace individual segments with a separate rectangle object. So I'll show you what that is. So we'll hit OK. And here's what we get. It looks like the corner of our grid is what you're going to be, when you click, that's where the top left corner of the grid is going to be. So here's where we got our grid. We got 1, 2, 3 horizontal dividers, and then I'm not going to count, but we got 10 vertical dividers. And that's not counting the outside ones, so remember that. All right, let's go ahead and delete this out and go ahead and mess with our tools again. So let's uncheck this use outside rectangle as a frame. I'm going to hit OK, and we can see what the difference is. If I go to click on these and try to move it, there we go. It's not too much different. We can select some of these individual lines and stuff like that. We've got this individual line path here where we can move it out and everything like that. So that's what that's what that does. So I'm going to delete this out. That's nice. There we go. Sometimes Illustrator has been doing that. I click and then it creates a 1 pixel by 1 pixel object, which doesn't help anybody. I'll just go to 100 by 100 and see what we get. So I'm going to start skewing some of the dividers. Put that back on and hit OK. And you can see that dividers are now skewed towards the bottom. And they have actually been skewed a lot. So that's what that looks like. And then that was way skewed. So if I want to just do it a little bit, maybe 82%, and I'll make this a little bigger. 600, 500, something like that. Okay. Now you can see that these are more skewed. I made the box way too big. Oh well. Let's make it less big. Way less. 300. How about? We'll do 300 wide to 200 tall. Because tall was where we're getting screwed over on. Alright, hit OK. I'm going to have to move this whole thing again. But now you can see how it's been skewed towards the bottom. And that's all I was trying to show you in that whole debacle there. So let's go move on to the polar grids. The polar grid tool pretty much makes a circular grid. It has a bunch of circles, kind of like a dartboard, and it has some radial dividers in it. I'm going to go ahead and click here. And we've got our options here. We've got 5 concentric dividers, which are the circles, and radial dividers, which are lines that come out. I'm going to hit OK. And this is what we get, kind of like a spider web kind of looking thing. So these outside ones are the concentrics, and those are the circular dividers. And then the radial dividers are these lines that are coming out from the middle that divide the circles. Now we can go ahead and mess with some options if we want to. Let's make these a little bigger. And if you want a perfect circle, you're going to want to keep the width and the height the same. And I'll lower this down to like 2. And I'll make this something like 10. And we'll see what happens. Now we've got a couple boxes here. We've got create compound path from ellipses. And that's going to replace circles with separate compound paths, kind of like the other use outside rectangle as frame. It's a little bit like that. And then we've got the fill grid, and then that will just fill it with our current fill color. We don't have a fill color selected right now, as you can see up here in the top left. Hit OK, and here's what we got. So that's how you use the polar grids and the regular rectangle grids. So hopefully you guys learned something around here, and how helpful that these different grids can be used for you. And pretty much the grids will be used in like some types of business things. You can use them in backgrounds. If you make the entire background a grid and then lower the opacity or something like that and change the colors around, you can make some really cool things using grids. So thanks a lot for watching this one. Hit the like button if you felt the video was worthy of a like. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and have a good day.